All right, YouTube, it is Tuesday. We perked up a little bit here at Meineke Sentiments and we're working. Say happy birthday to Rachel. Call the shop. See the phone number on her shirt. Say happy birthday. Send her money and gift cards. Yeah. So thank you for everyone who comments, and I'm trying to get to the comments. And even if I don't comment, just consider me just waving and saying hi to you when I hit the like button and send you the heart. So last night, I actually did this wheel restoration in an hour, and I'm really efficient at it, but man, did they come out phenomenal. They came out phenomenal. Now that the clear coat is like really dried, they look fantastical. Even the run and the clear coat over there, you can't even see. And then this one has a run and a clear coat there. You can see a little bit, but this used car dealer won't be worried about that. Came out phenomenal. So this video is a little bit about a conversation that I had with somebody else about, Caleb, I want you to finish the Nissan before you do anything else. Yep. The conversation stemmed from customers supplying their own parts and not really knowing what's wrong with their car. And in most cases, I'm going to say that the customer is budget minded, meaning they only have a certain amount of money to approach a certain situation. And that's why they go online to buy parts. It's not because they trust online parts quality, that's for sure. Because if you just talk to anybody about online parts quality, it's garbage. So this other, I guess, shop owner or manager, thank you for subscribing. I hope you subscribed. But your comment was, at least a paragraph, and I appreciate it. Just like you said, if it's something you can't get your hands on locally, you would rather have that security of just picking up the phone, putting in a labor claim, getting another part, switching the product line, whatever, than waiting for the customer to come up with a solution for you. And then when you shift gears and saying, hey, I'm into this, it's seized, it's broken, there's more parts required, and the customer goes, well, I don't have any more money, then what do? You put the shop in a predicament, and like this, you're tying up the bay. So there has to be value in why the bay is being tied up. The meter is running, technicians are here, and nothing's for free in the shop environment. So don't take it personal, everyone who buys parts online. We rarely buy anything online. And like this other guy said, if it is, it's because it's unobtaining them locally. In some cases we will entertain it, but it's the slim chances that I will entertain installing your parts. That's it. Even highest quality name brand parts that we get from our other shops or garages that they bring here for performance work or custom work, it just doesn't fit right, and it adds extra time. And if you're on a tight budget, it's really not for the environment some shops want to operate under. So for me, I kind of went into a little bit more discussion. I'm going to try and prop you up here, into how I do things here, and I kind of said the same thing as like, hey, for us, I hope this is still recording. Yep. For us here at Meineke Sentiments, in my little teeny tiny 4-bay shop that you can barely walk in front of a car or behind a car when there's a vehicle in it, but I have to manage my bays properly. And tying your bays up with customer supplied parts is not a good thing. Even one bay, it could be a problem. So what I said to this guy is that what makes Meineke Sentiments so different than your average Meineke shop, I hope you can see me, than your average Meineke shop, is that I don't do that type of work for customers. I turn my nose at it. I stiff arm that work. I don't condone it. I don't really want to be a part of that. And it happens all the time, and that's why I don't do it. Or even used parts. Put used parts in a customer's car. It's another complete headache. So I'll tell a little story, and then I'll move on to what I'm saying. We had a customer bring a car in that was sitting for a while. It was an easy target for a stolen catalytic converter. That They weren't aware that it happened until they started the car up. The engine light was on, catalytic converter was missing. That's what they assumed. They brought the car to us. We put it up in the air, inspect it, estimate the job for whatever was missing for the exhaust. Obviously, it was the most affordable option, which this current customer really doesn't appreciate. We scan the code and we say, hey, you got some evap codes in there. They don't understand why. That there's evap codes in there with oxygen sensor codes. We don't know people. Your car showed up. All we can do is present what's wrong to you and hope that you would want to see it through. Older Honda Pilot, probably 15, 20 years old. It had an evap code for leak, gas tank area. Inspected the gas cap. It was original. You want to put a new one on. Did some other visual checks, did a smoke test, found that the vent valve was leaking a little bit. Went ahead, we did those 2 services for the evap system. This was 2 months ago. We get a phone call last week that, hey, it's got the same code AutoZone says. We're like, okay, hey, bring it back, let us check it. We did advise replacing the whole charcoal canister on the Honda because there's so many pieces on a Honda evap system that fail or soon will fail after it, not including that we almost didn't get the bolt out of the charcoal canister to even change the vent valve, but we did, which is just indicating rust and corrosion is going on in there. Hence why I wanted to replace the whole charcoal canister. We said, hey, let's just go with the vent valve and the gas cap. If you have a problem, let us know. The husband was the one who brought the car. He was easily approving the process, understanding what's going on. He gives the car to the wife and the daughter. Obviously, it's not in the same situation. Not even a receipt. And we said, hey, okay, bring the car back last week. Let us take a look at it. Let's find out what's going on. We did advise replacing the whole charcoal canister for the age of the vehicle, and this is kind of how evap systems fail over 15 and 20 years. That's why we said do the whole thing, and the cost of the charcoal canister was, I don't even know, expensive. But the charcoal canister comes with everything on it. It's not going to have rusty bolts and brackets. And we kind of know what we're dealing with things under the car here in South Jersey. The lady is completely grilling us. And she said, I took it to another shop, and they said you left a wire loose. And I was like, well, that would be impossible. That would be the case. Because if we left the wire loose or unplugged for the component we replaced, which is the vent valve, the engine light would illuminate 1 or 2 or 3 key cycles not 2 months later. And she's like, well, the car was barely driven. It doesn't matter, it was driven. Things that are unplugged, illuminate a check engine light very instantly. So then she's talking a bunch of crap and all this other stuff. My point to the story is, if I would have just fixed her catalytic converter and oxygen sensors that were missing and didn't say anything about the evap codes, that she would be calling me back bitching and complaining she never had a check engine light on in her car, like most people do when they have a catalytic converter stolen, is that they've never had these problems. When we advise them that you have problems in the system before we work on it, and you still don't understand that you had prior problems to your evap system along with the stolen catalytic converter, it's not registering with her that she has problems. And her stance is, I never had a problem. You had a problem because someone stole parts off your car, and then you still didn't finish the repair for the evap problem, and she's being unreasonable. One is, hey, 2 months later, you said, hey, there's a problem. AutoZone says, we're like, okay, bring it back. Then the following week later, you call again, say you're at another shop, and said we left something disconnected. Now you have 2 other people that had their hand in this job. What am I supposed to say? Just bend over and say, oh, whatever it is, I'll take care of it? Absolutely not. You don't trust us, this, that, and the other thing. We said to bring it back. How simple is that? The guy said bring it back. It's pretty simple. Bring it back, let us look at it. Let's talk about it. Nor does she have the receipt that says we advise replacing the entire charcoal canister because of the age of the system for the evap failure. You're not getting through evap system problems on today's cars by just changing one part on a 10 or 15-year-old car. The other components are sooner or later right behind it. If not, they fail the next day or the next week. Change the vent valve, and you get a purge code 2-3 weeks later, or a month later, or something else. Loogie, baby. But I would have been damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. You do everything right. You tell the customer, hey, there's other issues. Do you want to fix it? They still don't understand. The receipt says, hey, that you should replace the whole entire charcoal canister, and we didn't go that route for cost reasons. And now it's a whole shit show and storm of me getting aggravated because you just simply wouldn't bring the car back. How much more can I be than most places other than say, hey, that was 2 months ago, go pound sand. We didn't say that. We're like, hey, just come back, let us look at it. And if it needs more work, it needs more work. We told you that. But the lady's fishing for something. I'm kind of a little bit off. She's fishing for something. What she's fishing for, I don't really have an answer. Now you have 2 other people that have had their hand on the car, right? And then now I got to look at it again. And then now this lady's already running up and down me for absolutely no reason. Yes, you're a little concerned that the light's back on, and we're like, hey, no big deal. Come back, let's look at it. Of course, it could cost you more money, and if we made an error in our installation or something like that, it would have showed up within 3 to 4 key cycles on average for a disconnected component. So I don't really know. Did the AutoZone guy crawl under there and take a look because it's easy and put his hand on the connector and pull on it? I don't know. Is this other guy just looking for work because shops are begging for work out here? I don't know. But all I can say is, hey, transparency is what we are, and I couldn't be more transparent than, hey, it's 2 months later, I don't know. It's not like you're a regular customer. Bring it back, let me look at it. If there's a problem with what we did, we'll take care of it. If it's something else, as we noted on the receipt, it's going to be your problem. But back to customer supplied parts, right? So I do a lot of used car recondition work. I do a lot of work for other shops around here when it comes to exhaust or seized bolts or manifolds and things like that. That in a 4-bay shop, it's easy to get congested because you're not pumping out oil changes, tire rotations, tire plugs, and light bulbs, right? That's the stuff here that I don't have time for. I have people constantly put my tires on, put my oil in, put my filters in, put my tune-up parts on, put my brake parts on, and I'm running through the crowd like this. If the bays were empty, would I try and taste a little bit of that stuff? Not that I want to, but I potentially would. Most cases, I just say, no, I don't want to put your used tires on. No, I don't want to put your used compressor in. No, I don't want to put your oil in use your oil and filter. No, I don't want to do it. So I keep myself busy with used car dealer work, which I let a majority of them, because they buy from local parts houses, where I buy them for them, and we work together, right? Say, hey, the car's full of these parts from AutoZone, this is wrong, that's wrong. We just pick up the phone, AutoZone, you screwed up, or Advance, you screwed up, or whoever the vendor is, or something's wrong, get us another part. It's usually pretty seamless, and if it turns out to be a next day thing, then you just button the car up and put it outside. So for me, what makes me so much different than the average Meineke shop is that I do that type of work, and I'm standing over that type of work yesterday. And I'll tell you, out of 900 centers, not one of them was doing a wheel repair, not replacement, wheel repair and restoration in any of their bays, which makes my business system so much different than that. Or do dashboard work. I can't tell you how many shops probably don't do dashboard work in a Meineke, or sunroof repairs, or frame or chassis work, which is all time consuming. And what I'm saying is, there's times where I absolutely have zero time for that drive up customer who's looking for that quick lube oil change service, who's not your regular customer, or hey, I have a flat tire, can you guys just stop what you're doing and see when every bay's full? We here usually don't prioritize those people, and then when you try to get them to commit to leave the car, I will get to it today. I just can't stop what we're doing right now to help you, because I'm not over managing my people past their limits for myself. I can't get them to agree to leave the car. They won't leave it for an oil change, they won't leave it for headlight bulbs, they won't leave it for a tire plug. In most cases, people will leave it for major repairs. Past that, the drive-up customer here, since we're a satellite location, is that they just are seeking that instant gratification right now, even though they make an appointment for the next day or to come back in a day, they never show up. it's not because we don't want to help them, it's because we physically just can't overmanage the staff that we have in a 4-bay environment. So then I just keep the shop busy with, repair work, which ties the bays up longer, which makes me a little different than the average Meineke shop, where the average Meineke shop isn't doing wheel restorations and dashboard teardowns and sunroof replacements and headliners and paint correction on cars, paintless dent repair, door hinges, radiator supports, all that other stuff. That's what we do here, which makes me a lot different than the average Meineke shop. And I would tell you the average Meineke shop probably is welcoming, I don't know this for a fact, customer supplied parts. I, for one, don't do that, and they may have a bigger footprint or business model, and most shops are larger than a 4-bay. We're kind of the older Meineke 4-bay here in a teeny tiny gas station converted, in a spot that doesn't have pop densillation of homes. Next door we have a swamp with 3 houses. Behind us there's another 4 houses. Up the street there's another 4 houses. Most shops are in a dense populated area, meaning there's 500 if not thousands of homes, or the corner gas station coming out of multiple neighborhoods or a garage like that. So for me, when people are coming by here, they're going by 80 miles an hour. So a lot of things that make me different here. One is I'm with you on the customer supply parts. That's a big. And stiff arm, I don't think so. Nor do I want to. If I can get the parts, my opinion is, then I should be getting the profit on those parts, and it's business. And also have complete control of the job and how things are going. Once the customer gets involved, it's usually a problem. It goes on and on and on. ADAS systems, lane departure systems. We're just moving into that. Tire monitors, steel wheel repairs, aluminum wheel repairs, TIG welding, custom work, fabrication work. I mean, just tons of stuff that we do here that's just way different than your average Meineke shop. And that is the difference. So yesterday, one of the other Meineke owners that is in my small circle messaged me because it's been slow. And it's funny that my YouTube algorithms and reporting shows the dips in my business system, and it's just weird. It's like you can see that it started to fall off the end of December and stayed low, trending low for basically all of January, and then we had a little uptick yesterday. The weather was way nicer than it's been in the last 12 or 15 days. A couple customers came out, my used car dealers came out, so the juggling act of what we do here was a little bit back to normal. And he said, "Hey, how did yesterday work out?" And I said, "Do you want specifics?" And he said, "No, just good or bad." And I said, "Well, it was good." And then he said for him it wasn't really good, and I'm not going to give out locations and information. And then I said, "Well, do you want specifics?" He said, "No." And I felt that it was important that he knows why that my center outperformed the 3 of his centers in one day, but he didn't really want to know the makeup of how that happened. And one is I'm standing over one product line that nobody even tries in our system. That's usually paint and body work or a wheel specialty shop. Is that I'm standing over $30 worth of materials for $400, right? So $400 in 1 hour, about $30 worth of materials. And this is nothing for me. Sometimes I'll get 2 and 3, 4 wheel restorations in 1 week, and 2 in 1 day, because that's what we do. But I didn't tell him what we did. I'm still getting over this cold. What we did yesterday. But if I tried to entertain every phone call or every drive-up customer, I would never get to getting my bays finished for the work that's in there and overcoming the problems that I have already with each and every job, because it's never a seamless, easy thing. I can't tell you that we had at least 3 parts yesterday from parts stores that were completely wrong, and it just tied up the bays even more and more and more. And it seems like the timing of when the retail customer is looking for that instant, hey, I need a tire plug, or hey, I need a patch, or I need an oil change, or hey, I have this, all these parts. Will you be willing to put them on? I got them from Rock Auto or some other cheap ass place online. I'm like, hell no, forget that shit. I mean, you're buying a whole front end for $120. I can't buy 2 ball joints for $120 from our local vendors. What are the chances on that stuff even being right in the box? So I'm like, no. Running boards, chassis repair, gas tank straps, Silverado tire hangers and rear chassis support bars. Either custom make them or buy the kits, cut everything out, weld everything back in. Tons of stuff that we do here that makes us different than an average Meineke shop. I'll even do a windshield for a customer if they want a windshield. Door glass is a no-brainer here for us. Side mirrors, tons of bumper covers, hoods, fenders. Send it out for paint, frame rails. Whatever the customer's willing to spend here is what we do, and that's what makes Meineke so much different than everyone else. Occasionally we'll do transmission and engines. We used to do that when I first opened because there really wasn't any work here almost 19 years ago, and I shifted gears into picking up used car dealers. And of course, what do they need the most when they're trying to buy the deal, not buy the car. So that's a popular word in the used car business. It's really not the car, it's the deal. And buying a deal usually is buying it where other people turn their nose at, hey, I don't want to put a trans in it. Hey, I'm not willing to do rust and frame repair. I'm not willing to do headliner or seats or airbags. That's all the stuff we do. Engines, complete, yes. Cylinder heads anymore now. Timing belts, yeah. Timing chains, I don't really have time for that, nor do I want to do it anymore. So a lot of the odd stuff that makes this shop so much different. And that's what I bring to the table here. And it's not like that at Pepwise or Firestone or Advanced. And they may not even need all that work. But it is opportunities, just say I was a manager and I went to Firestone, right? I would take my skills and abilities there, or Pepwise and there, and say, okay, here's what I bring to the system above your tires and alignments and your brake jobs and coolant flushes and shit like that. A whole nother level of what the business system has, and typically Firestones have 10 or 12 bays, most of them, right? So you can take on just about everything that comes in, provided you have staff that can even do an oil change or plug a tire. So the bigger shops, obviously, you can take on more of the stuff that you can or cannot do or manage fairly easily. But thank you. I'm glad to see that there's other shop owners, managers out there to kind of have the same thought process I do. It's like, hey, forget this crap. I don't want to be involved with it because it is such a nightmare, and it's not personal customers, it's business. You bring us a pile of online parts. It's hard enough getting parts even from the dealership that work or last, let alone from your local parts supplier that has multiple product lines, that they get right the first time, that the counter person even knows what a digital EGR is versus a purge valve. Does he know that the purge valve's in the front of the car, not the back of the car? Did they check to see, are the rotors different sizes? This goes on every day from all these parts vendors, because we don't have experienced people on the phones like we used to 20 years ago, even 30 years ago. So really, and what makes you think that you're a better parts person than the cataloging or people online that you're ordering parts from? Caleb just ordered $5,000 worth of custom Honda parts, missing pieces. Like, this is supposed to be a box with all the contents and he's ready to go. It's missing pieces. Somebody didn't quality check the order. And then when he calls, like, oh yeah, well that was in another warehouse and blah, 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 blah. Or this, that the cataloging is completely wrong, that all the vendors have for a certain part. Like, you're like, nope, send. You call the dealer and it's like, oh yeah, this is right. And like, well, how come the dealer can get it right the first time? And all the aftermarket is completely wrong. Like, this Nissan is saying that this temperature blend door actuator and 2-bay, which is took all day to get 2 of them, right? The first one, that was wrong. And then the second one, we used the OEM number once we got it out, which we got aftermarket, which is a little bit bigger for case. Now we have to modify it to work. That all data says it has dual climate controls and 2 blends for main and auxiliary, this car has single climate control and one climate control unit in the front, which is the main, not the auxiliary. Part number on the part we took out, hoping that it is OEM. I'm not sure that they're saying it's the auxiliary. Well, auxiliary is for rear, and there's nothing in the rear of this Nissan Titan for it to control. You turn the hot control on the climate controller, and you can see it in the dashboard. Like, we see, we know, but what did we get? It took 9 hours for us to get the second part that doesn't fit exactly right, and Caleb's working on it now. Top of everything else. Boy, that was a lot. So we have work to do here. There's cars in every bay, and there's cars outside. I attribute this to possibly that the weather's warming up. People are salivating over their tax returns. So it loosened up. It's not quite back to normal here at Meineke Sentiments. And when I see 2 other garages send me work, 2, 3 used car dealerships send me work, and then a retail, that is a good mix of an environment for Meineke Sentiments and to have a healthy day here of work. So I'm going to bring it back when I have something else. But what makes your center different than mine or your competitions? Please let me know. Thanks for watching.